China is not in the scenario, it's not in the plan, it's not part of any of these discussions. So for the past 2 years, we've been working on this specific Rim of the Pacific exercise. It's all to focus on the training of individual navies and the ability to work in a combined environment. It is not designed or focused on any particular country anywhere in the region. In fact, if it were, countries would object to that because not everybody views individual countries that way. This is not an exercise that's directed towards one particular adversary or competitor or partner because this wouldn't work. We do focus on security and stability at sea. We do focus on the challenge of working in a combined environment. We do focus on information sharing and then pitting one capability against the other and how we might work together as a team. So the focus here really is on agility, on synergy, and on support. That's how we pull this together. If we were to focus on an individual country, I don't see how we could pull this together the way we have. Rick, if you have anything.
Admiral, I think very well stated. Again, the Hawaiian Island chain offers tremendous geography for scripting and exercise, and it allows us to do it in a very generic manner. Again, you can kind of lay this out and demonstrate all the different capabilities that one would want to in a variety of scenarios. Key to today's world is the strategic environment is incredibly quickly changing, and it changes dramatically. And so you really do need to focus your training across all aspects of warfare, the high end, the more low end, the shaping, humanitarian assistance piece, and then clearly kind of in the middle right now is what do you do for regional and local security, managing the water space. In the U.S. Navy, we refer to maritime domain awareness. How do you share the information based on sensors and capabilities of 14 different nations coming together? That all takes an awful lot of engineering and procedural practice and training to stick it together, and enhances the capability tremendously due to that synergy aspect of bringing those different sensors together. That's all part of the exercise.
Let me follow up. So when countries invest in their navies, there's an expectation that they will perform in all places and try and do as many things as possible. So, for example, that can mean humanitarian assistance and disaster relief in the case of the tsunami in 2004. That can mean counter-piracy operations as well. Previous experience for myself was in the Middle East, and the recognition that we're in a very proliferated world. So the question tends to focus on the individual flag associated with technology. We focus on the technology. So that technology can be built in one place, exported, and then passed to another. And as we found in the summer of 2006, launched from the back of a truck, sinks an Egyptian freighter, innocent, sinks in Israel, or tries to sink an Israeli frigate as well. So the important aspect of this is to recognize that if a Navy is going to have a constructive role to play, it has to keep pace with the technology. It has to look for ways to leverage capabilities that are seamless, because we operate in an environment where potential adversary, piracy for example, operates in the shallow water, operates in the deep water, and you can see how disruptive it is on the world economy. And I think there's a recognition now that in a globalized marketplace that we live in, a globalized economy, any disruption of the sea lanes now has the potential to impact more than just the national interests of the United States, but the national interests of all the countries in the community of nations. So that's the byproduct of the interconnected world that we live in. Yes, sir.
Can you give me an idea of how much planning goes into this effort?
Yep.
I know you guys are going to get kickstarted now, but how much in advance have you folks did?
We really did start planning for 2010 before 2008 finished. I've got folks on my staff that were involved in that, and as they saw that portion of the exercise in 2008 evolve, they started taking notes and making positive changes to make this a better exercise. I will tell you that over the last 12 months, we've had multiple get-togethers of large numbers, 300, 400, 500 people. in the initial planning conference, main planning conference. We had an additional conference down in Sydney, Australia of the principals, and then a final planning conference back in San Diego. All very well attended, truly all hundreds of folks. And it's really important that you do it that way because it allows us to make sure that we have all those national objectives put on the table very early on so that we can weave them into the import and then the SOE, the scripted exercise at sea, and then make sure that the free play is tailored again to continue to develop upon all those requirements that people have. And so that's what you get. You get all the requirements from a national perspective. That's why you have as many people come here. And then you take it and you develop it together to a cohesive group, and I think that's worked well. But the planning has been extensive. It has certainly been 12 months of very heavy-duty back-and-forth interaction between all these countries.
Could you describe like a free play exercise?
Free play, you know, we work a scenario. So in very generic terms, and I'll try to stay there, is you have kind of like-minded good countries, and then you have a country that's done some destabilization for the region. And so as you evolve the scenario, you'll get United Nations sanctions imposed. And so that drives us to trying to go in and restore stability, doing some of the shaping phase of putting ships in there, making sure that free transit for trade and that sort of thing occurs. Because we drive the scenario to ramp up all aspects of military training, our ability to succeed will generally fail. There will be a trigger event that takes us to the next level. That could drive us to boardings, to perhaps a takedown of a ship at sea. That can be responded again by greater activity, aggressive action by a nation that eventually turns into fighting. We'll do some of the landings in conjunction with that. We will end up dominating, hopefully, assuming these guys do their job back here, which I'm sure they will. We'll restore peace and then set the conditions to turn back over to civil authorities, keep peace in everything that we do. Some of these things we will kind of sit through and walk through in training environment ashore. So it could be staff training. One of the things that we're doing different this time is on the operational level of training is we're getting together the staffs to do some of that real world, or not real world, but exercise planning, writing the direction, that sort of thing, as opposed to just the ships and aircraft at sea exercise, and there'll be some good staff play. Ultimately with a goal on how do you conclude from any activity that occurs, how do you restore peace, how do you turn it back over to civil authority. And so we kind of walk our way through all the different phases of warfare that way.